Good morning, members and members of the public. My name is Councillor Richard Lambourne and I'm the Chairman of the Licensing and Appeals Subcommittee. The other members are Councillor Arthur Williams and Councillor Roger Constable. The committee's legal advisor is Francesca Reason. Before we and we're also joined by members of the Democratic Services Officer who will be noting today's proceedings. Before we start, I would like to remind members to please switch off their mobile phones or turn them to silent. Please note that this meeting will be live streamed. Switch microphones on when speaking and speak clearly into those microphones. The purpose of today's hearing is to consider an application for a new premises licence for the Chichester Hotel, Old London Road, Raworth, SS11 8UE. Please could the applicant's representative introduce themselves?
Hi, my name is Masroor Ahmed Malik, and I'm a business associate of Afazmia, which we own the Chichester Hotel.
And do you have any witnesses you wish to call?
No.
Please could the council's licensing officers please introduce themselves?
Good morning, my name is Stephen Greener. I am the Corporate Licensing Manager for Rochester District Council.
Do you have any witnesses you wish to call?
No, there's no witnesses on my behalf. Thank you.
Are there any representatives of the responsible authorities?
No, there's none today.
Okay. Right, have all parties received an agenda and report for today's hearing?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, can we ask the local residents to introduce themselves, please? Sorry, I don't know if we've passed that bit.
It's not on there. Right, sorry. Could the local residents please introduce themselves?
My name is David Collins and I live in Goymer's Lodge, Old London Road, Raworth, which is adjacent near enough to the Chichester Hotel.
Good morning, I'm Kerry Elliott. I live at Sunnyview, Old London Road, adjacent to the Chichester Hotel. Thank you.
Good morning, my name's Lynn Thorogood. I live at Golding's Cottage in Church Road, which is directly behind, across the field, behind the Chichester, but I also represent two other residents who are working this morning, and I've been asked to represent them as well. So that would be...
Okay, well,
okay.
When we get to that. Okay. Right, the committee will follow the procedure set out in the procedural note on item 3 on the agenda. Please could all parties be reminded that they each have 15 minutes to represent their case. I will now invite Stephen Greener, the council's principal licensing officer, to summarise the application.
Good morning. This application is to consider an application for a premises licence for the Chichester Hotel, Old London Road, Raworth. The recommendations to the committee: it is proposed that the committee resolves the application with one of the following options: either to grant the application subject to such conditions that are consistent with the operating schedule, modified to such extent as members consider necessary for the promotion of the licensing objectives, and any mandatory conditions that must be included, or to exclude from the scope of the licence any licensable activities to which the application relates, or to reject the application, or subject to paragraphs 11 to 13 of the Licensing Act 2003, Hearings Regulations 2005, to adjourn the hearing to a specific date, or to arrange for a hearing to be held on specific additional dates where members consider it to be necessary for the consideration of any representations or notices made by a party. Into the actual main body of the report. This report introduces an application for the grant of a premises licence made under Section 17 of the Licensing Act. During the consultation period, representations were received during the consultation period. The application must be determined within 5 working days of the conclusion of the hearing in accordance with paragraph 26 of the Licensing Act 2003 Hearings Regulations 2005. The background information around the application. An application was submitted to the licensing authority by the applicant, UK Hotels and Leisure Limited, and refers to the premises known as the Chichester Hotel, Old London Road, Rawworth, Essex. Appendix A is a copy of the original application form and the premises plan. The premises to which the application relates comprise of a hotel accommodation, function rooms and an outdoor area. And Appendix B in the pack is a map of the local area. The application is for the following licensable activities within the times and dates shown. So provision of films, live music, recorded music and provision of dance, Monday to Sunday, 9 a.m. till 2 a.m. Late night refreshment, Monday to Sunday from 11 o'clock at night until 2 a.m. Supply of alcohol, Monday to Sunday from 9 a.m. until 2, and a season variation of New Year's Eve from the start of licensable activity on New Year's Eve to the end of licensable activity on New Year's Day. Proposed opening hours is Monday to Sunday from 9 in the morning until 2:30. Representations. Responsible authorities. The application has been assessed by Essex Police and they have agreed conditions with the applicant. These can be found as Appendix C in the copy of the agreed conditions. Environmental Health and the other responsible authorities did not make any representations against the application. Other persons. There have been 12 representations received from local residents, 7 via our online submission form and 5 via our postal system. The representations raise concerns in relation to the following licensable activities: the prevention of public nuisance. Appendix D consists of the copies of the valid representations that were received. Notices. All parties involved have been served with the relevant notices and documentation required by paragraph 6 and 7 of the Licensing Act 2003 Hearing Regulations 2005. A pro forma was included with the notices and documentation mentioned in the previous paragraphs. Policy considerations. This application should be determined in accordance with the Statement of Licensing Policy approved by full council for the period of the 31st of January 2021 to the 30th of January 2026. When considering the applications, the council have to take regards to the 4 licensing objectives and to the Licensing Act, the Licensing Act 2003 Hearing Regulations of 2005, government guidance issued under section 182 of the Licensing Act, Rochester District Council's licensing policy and any supporting regulations. Finally, an equality impact assessment has been completed and found to be no impacts, either positive or negative, on protected groups as defined under the Equalities Act of 2010. And that is the end of the report. Any questions?
Do you have any questions? No questions. David. Where am I now? Right, we've got nobody from the responsible authority to present their submissions. Right, please could the applicant present their submission?
Hello. So we purchased the Chichester Hotel completed in May, and we propose to return the hotel back to use. So predominantly it will be a hotel with 36 letting rooms. There will be a restaurant on site. The restaurant will be there to serve locals of the community and the guests of the hotel. The restaurant will not be serving any alcohol. It will be a dry bar only, so there will be no alcohol served in the restaurant for guests or outside customers. We're looking to reopen the banqueting and event space. which will be catering for weddings, funeral parties, birthday parties, open to local residents there. We're looking to have this service available 7 days a week. So anybody who wants to book an event during the day, evening, we're looking to cater for that. We expect majority of the weddings to be in the weekends, mainly daytime, maybe Saturday evenings. But we want to have that facility open because we know, especially from our own background, when there's holidays, a lot of people like to book because of the limited availability of space. People like to book weddings events on weekdays, but then they like to have it in the evening because people are working during the day. So that's why we want to have that facility open for the evening as well. Majority of the customers that we think that we're going to attract will not be looking for alcohol from our background, but we want to be able to offer that wedding services to everybody. So we don't want to limit the customers. The alcohol to be served will only be served with food. We're not looking to take on any events that would be just parties for alcohol. So everything would be alcohol will only be served with food. We don't expect we'll be advertising the events to be finishing 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock at night, the evening ones. But we want to have a license applicable up to 2 o'clock. So if anybody is enjoying their drink or food, we don't want to be in a position where we have to push them out. So that's why we made the application for up to 2 o'clock. Of course, we will be considerate to the local residents. All events will have ushers, guards there, and we will personally, it's going to be a family business, so we're personally going to be present at all events, and we will be ushering people around as well, making sure that there's no disturbances going on site as well. I think that's it for us. No, that's all. Thank you.
Do we have any questions?
Yes, please. So your intention is to have this to operate as a hotel as opposed to a venue, if you like, for entertainment?
So we'll have two parts of the business. So we've got hotel rooms that will run as a hotel, and we want to open up as an event space. So mainly weddings and any events that local community want to use for. So there would be like cultural shows, anything like that. So yeah, so it would be both.
Okay, thank you. You asked for a late opening for I think it's 5 a.m. for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
Yeah, that's right. So if anybody wants, we just want to have that facility. If somebody wants to have a New Year's Eve party or an event, we know that's something that people would like to do. So that's why we wanted that one-off occasion.
Okay, thank you.
Are you making any modifications to the buildings or the ventilation systems to enable the venue to be closed rather than windows open and people outside?
We're not making any major modifications. I think the property was used before as an event space. So we can't see anything that needs to be closed. The windows are all closed anyway. They're all double glazed. They're all closed as well anyway. We have AC air conditioning in the property, which we will upgrade as well. So we can't see the reason for needing to open windows for ventilation or that. So we don't expect much noise to be coming out. And like I said, most events we will have ushers there, guards there to usher people in and take them and guide them out as well.
Right. I think we now move on to representations from local residents, unless anyone else has got any other questions.
I wonder if we should be just asking a little bit more about the films and dance and what the business case is.
Okay. As advised, yes, the films and dance element of the activities for which you want to go till 2 o'clock in the morning. How many do you expect to be? How many film shows do you expect, and when do you expect them?
So, I mean, the film and dance, I mean, we don't really expect many. We do have within our own community cultural events, so cultural dance and all that, but then they're very much like folk dancing. These are not major raves or anything. They'll be like folk dancing, events, shows. Films will be film showing background of our community like that. So again, I mean, these will be, we don't expect many. Maybe during certain cultural events where people want to celebrate certain cultural events, but again, we don't expect them to be lasting that long. It would be a film showing with a gathering of people and then a small event of networking, something like that. We don't expect too many of those. We don't expect it on a weekly basis, definitely not. Maybe 3 or 4 in a year, no more than that.
Okay, I mean, with respect to, say, like your application for New Year's Eve, and you say that your some of these events will be from your community, shall we say? I don't know quite how to express this, but so will you be wanting all-day events and all-evening events for other community? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, so we won't be limited to anybody. So if anybody wants to have a New Year's Eve bash, I mean, we're not going to cater for any big parties or anything like that. I mean, it's going to be if a local community or a group want to come and celebrate the New Year event, then it'll be.
Yeah,
but again, like I said, it would be. It would.
I'm thinking, would you want the same sort of hours that you want for New Year's Eve for Diwali or Eid or something?
No, because I mean, New Year's is specific because everybody wants to bring in the New Year's Day for Diwali, Eid, and all that. There's nothing to say that it needs to be at 12 o'clock. That there's a ball drops and we celebrate it. It just comes in naturally. So majority of those events we expect it to be late afternoon, going into early evening. Nothing later than that.
The events you are holding, they will all be private events. There will be no sort of ticketed events where you sell tickets to the general public. Are you saying all events will be private?
We expect majority of our to be for private events. I mean, there will be. I mean, we have people who want to do shows as well, so they will be ticketed, but they won't be ticketed. They'll be ticketed pre-booked, so there will be a capacity of number of people. So we'll know. So we'll give them a capacity of number of people, and they can only sell that. So there won't be anybody coming in on the day to purchase tickets. So any events will be pre-booked as well. So it won't be on the day buying tickets. So we will know number of people. So we'll always know the number of people coming into the site beforehand.
But somebody could hire the event from you for a certain night, and they would be able to sell tickets to whoever they liked. You wouldn't be obviously looking into that at all to what they're doing. You would hire the venue, but the people would be able to buy tickets and sell them to whoever they wanted. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, we don't anticipate many of that, but we would want to keep that open. But again, it would be a number. So we of course we do background checks on what the actual event is, number of people, where they're selling it. So there would be a limit on the number of people that they're allowed to bring into that event.
Thank you. I think the concern is that there would be raves. I've never been to a rave, but I don't know what constitutes a rave these days. So I think that's what people are concerned about as well. So that's not on the cards at all.
No, definitely not. I mean, like I said, the event space is mainly for weddings, is what we purchased the business for, but then for parties and all that, but definitely no rave. Like I said, it's going to be a family-run business, so we will be present on site, so we will know who's coming and going on the site. So if we see any disorderly behavior, I mean, we will be there on site. It's going to be a family-run business.
We move now on to the representation from the public.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, sorry to jump in. I believe the residents are able to ask the applicant any sort of questions for clarity around their submission that they've made. Sorry about that.
It's okay, yeah. Right, so can you start with questions and then make your statement?
I'm slightly confused when you mention banqueting and set meals, when you say alcohol won't be served. I can't, for the life of seeing anybody on a Saturday night going out to celebrate a wedding anniversary or a birth in the family and not having an alcoholic drink. If you don't supply alcoholic drink at a banquet, you've got a severe problem that people will bring it in their handbags or anything and smuggle and drink their own beer, or spirits, of which you will have no control over. I cannot understand why my wife and I couldn't book a table there to celebrate a christening and a glass of wine with a meal, and you won't serve it. I can't understand why you need a licensed premises not to sell alcohol. It doesn't gel with me unless I've misunderstood what you said.
Sorry, yeah, you may have misunderstood. I said that the majority of the businesses that we'll be advertising to is from within our own culture and community. So
That's not a lot of good to the local residents and other residents of Raw if it's advertised to a local community and you can't get what you want, and yet you're expecting a public house licence to serve the public, which is the definition of a public house licence. You are not going to serve the public. You're only going to serve hand-picked ones that you choose.
No, sorry, I think there might have been
Can I step in here?
misunderstanding.
Can you just keep your comments just to questions rather than... Well,
That was the question, that why can't you have a glass of wine or a beer with
the
your meal?
gentleman's answer that culturally, a lot of his customers don't want alcohol, so...
Sorry, but I did say that we will take events with alcohol, but it will only be the events that we hold will only be alcohol served with food. So we won't hold any events where it's just an alcohol. Sorry, a party where you're just drinking only. So any of it will be, the alcohol will be served to the table with food and to the table. So there wouldn't be an open bar where you can hire the space out just for drinks only. It would be any event would be things. So, for example, of course, you guys, everybody within the committee is welcome there, and there will be effect. But that event will be booked beforehand to say that we want alcohol served there, and then we will bring in caterers that can serve alcohol.
Can I ask a question? Oh, beg your pardon.
That's contrary to what you expect a license to 2, 3 o'clock, whenever in the morning. You're not serving alcohol. What are people going to do between the normal hours of, say, midnight to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning? Most people have a meal, have a dance, have a drink. I can understand reasonably 2 o'clock in the morning, but if they're not drinking and they're not doing anything else, why on earth do you need a 2 o'clock license 7 days a week? It just doesn't make sense. It's just to say that you've got a 2 o'clock license.
It's so we don't limit ourselves to business. So if somebody wants to have an event any day of the week, we want to have that facility in place. But of course, none of our events will be advertised until 2 o'clock. But we don't want, if somebody's having, like you said, having a dance and a drink, if we have it to say 12 o'clock and then it's at 12 o'clock, sorry, lights out, everybody needs to be pushed out. Yeah. That's why we just want to have that facility in place. So if we do have events of that kind, we have that ability to cater to people up to that time.
But if you had a Masonic ladies' night there, which happened quite a lot when Frank Harris owned it, you could put in for an occasional license if the person running the function said, we require a 2 o'clock license or a 1 o'clock license. You could apply for that occasionally. You don't have to have the license 7 days a week for eternity. I cannot really see the logic of that at all.
Can we stop that? I think the gentleman's answered your question. But could you now move on to your statement?
The other ladies have got questions.
What?
Sorry, I believe a couple of the other residents just want to ask very specific questions. Please do not make statements, purely just ask questions, please.
Well,
Hello.
with the statement I made, it covers a multitude of sins, but basically, I'm worried about the traffic situation in Old London Road. It's a de-restricted road, and we don't need that 2 o'clock in the
You
morning.
get a chance to do that. We've got questions.
What's going on there?
Hello. I did welcome you outside, and we're not here to be anti the hotel, and we're very pleased that you've took it on, but we do have concerns and some questions. With regards to the live music, be it indoor or outdoor, is there volume restrictions? You know, how loud are you expecting that to be? The sound travels, and we are immediate residents, and there are cottages immediately next door to you, and it is a very, very quiet rural area. So we've got concerns with, shall I go through just my questions and then you answer? So that's one. When you say serve food with alcohol, what are you regarding as food? Like a bag of crisps and some nuts and you can buy alcohol? That's that question. A hotel resident bar. If you're a hotel resident, is there a bar facility? Another question. The car park capacity, it's a very small car park. There's no public transport and there's no footpath. So safety in numbers is another question with that with regards to the parking. And if you could answer those, they're my main concerns.
So I'll address it as you've put it. So the first one was the.
Run them very briefly.
Thank you. So noise levels inside and outside. I mean, outside events, we don't expect there to be many. Again, if it is, it's going to be, there won't be loud music. It'll be like a dance sort of show. Small dance. When I say dance, I mean like a folk dance that we have within our own culture. That won't be late night. We don't expect that to be late night. We expect that to be during the day. Inside again, we don't expect anything amplified noise. It would be within the area. So when I say amplified, I mean, of course, there'll be speakers. It's going to be just music. I don't really see anything that high level. I mean, we'll restrict anything because, again, like I keep mentioning, we will be on site. So anything that we think is too outside of what we expect, we will go and have a word with them. Food, when we say food, I mean, we're going to be doing inside catering, so we know we won't take in any events that say, oh, we just want a bag of crisps. It'd be a proper food event, so it'd be at least a course of meal, a meal course. So that's because the banqueting would be for that. So we won't expect anything that here. We just want a bag of crisps and a drink. It would be a full meal. And in terms of the hotel residency, no, we're not having a bar in the thing, so the hotel residents will not be able to buy any alcohol on site. Hope that addresses everything. I'm not sure if there's anything else that there was.
The parking?
Parking, So the parking, I mean, we will, the banqueting hall has a capacity, I believe, of 500 to 600. But again, we expect majority of them to be family events. So we expect people to be coming in the cars of at least 3 or 4 people in a car. So we feel that it'll be within the capacity. We will have ushers on site who will usher people in and usher people out of the site as well. So that's it. Thank you.
Do you know how many car parking spaces you have?
The 130.
Yeah, the marketing brochure said 130 car parking spaces. So we haven't physically gone around and counted it, so we believe the marketing brochure said 130 car parking spaces. Of course, if we have it ushered in, we may be able to get a few more in there, but we expect, with that 130 cars, we expect there to be able to cater for 500 people in there.
Excuse me if I've misunderstood, but by the way you've put your representation over, the actual restaurant is for events rather than being open to the public. Is that right? The way you're putting it over is that it will actually just be for events. It won't be open, and therefore, if it is open, I would put forward that if you're not serving alcohol as such, then you're not going to do an awful lot, and it will revert back to an event type place.
No, so my uncle has his principles, and it's something that he will not. So I mean, the restaurant that we're looking to open will not be serving alcohol. I mean, we'll have a dry bar there, so we believe offering different types of 0% beer, which I know is we've heard that is very good. I mean, we've had it as well, but we can't, of course, compare to the actual alcohol because we've never had that. But it's going to be the beer. We won't be serving alcohol at the restaurant. Restaurant will be open to public 7 days a week.
7 days
Yes.
a week.
Yes, so the restaurant will be open 7 days a week. Event space is separate. That will be pre-booked only, but the restaurant will be open 7 days a week to hotel guests and outside customers as well. But there will be no alcohol served there. You would, of course, welcome to bring your own bottle, but it won't be. Yes.
That was going to be my other question.
Go for it.
A lot of premises that have the dry bar allow their customers to bring their own alcohol and pay a corkage. So there will be alcohol available if you're going to allow the people to bring it themselves.
Yes, I mean, it's not something that we would encourage, but I mean, of course, if there is people who want to have a drink, then they would be allowed, and there would be a corkage. So of course, we will be controlling that as well. So we wouldn't be somebody just coming in there and just wanting to just drink beers, because we would control the corkage, so we would be able to control how much the person's having. We hope to.
I think you're being slightly naive on that one, but we'll miss over on that one. Having attended Indian weddings, I am fully aware of the music, and it is lovely, don't get me wrong, had a thoroughly great time. I am aware of how noisy it is, and if you're having that outside, that is going to travel a long way, especially if you have the drums going. I've attended as a member of the family, so I do know what I'm talking about. So if you're having that outside, I would say that is going to travel a great distance. Just a comment there.
So, have any of you three got an actual statement to make?
Yes, please, if we may.
Yes. If you could limit it to 2 minutes each, please.
As you heard, I'm representing various people from the road as they're at work, and also this time of morning is none of us want to actually stop the Chichester from opening. We feel that it obviously is an asset in the area, but we do feel that the times that are being asked for are not suitable in the area. We also have a worry as to the type of event that is going to go on there, i.e. you've just heard what I've said. Weddings, straightforward weddings, no problem at all. But if you read through the paperwork, it is asking for various events to take place, music, live music, etc. Once the licensing has gone through, there is no restriction on it. So nobody can come back on it and say it's not suitable because the licensing has already gone through. Whereas if it was a licensing time that was more in line and they applied for an extension license, then there would be an opportunity for anybody to make representation at that time to actually say that it's not suitable. We feel as a community that the antisocial behaviour that we have experienced in the past in that area, we wouldn't want again, thank you, and it is a noise thing. Also, where it is situated, the Chichester, it is not near any main hub for trains, etc. So you're talking about an event, and as I say, I have been to Indian weddings, so I'm not talking out the back of my head. They are cracking events, but they are huge. You can't get away from it. They are a family event. They are lovely, but they are huge. And I would maybe disagree with the gentleman in the fact that you would get all that parking there. The social behaviour and the exiting, etc., would be incredibly detrimental to the people that live around it. So as a community, we feel that the Chichester is an asset to the area. It really and truly is, but the licensing really needs to be looked at, in our opinion, on the type of events that are going to be taken on down there. And that is all in the paperwork. They've asked for that on all of the issues, events, music, film. It all comes under that 9 till 2:30. So we would ask that that is not allowed, please. Thank you. Your turn.
Yeah, just reiterate really what Lynn has just said. Obviously, all the neighbourhood have the same feeling. When you say we don't expect to do this and we don't expect to do that, it's easy to say that we don't expect, but there needs to be restrictions, because that's just a throwaway saying we don't expect, but then along comes, we've had this event. This fella wants to rent out the car park, the outside grounds. He's had an all day and all night rave, no consideration for the surrounding area. And that was happening with the previous leaseholders of the hotel. Before then, the hotel was owned by a family who were very respectful to the area and were very considerate of the neighbours, and all events were limited to the 12 o'clock and were quietly left, and everyone was happy. When the leaseholder came along, they was holding raves or whatever just to grab money, and no consideration, no restriction. And that's why, as a very small neighbourhood in an extremely quiet rural area, we are very concerned about the comings and goings. It's a very narrow road. The road speed has never been restricted, which is another thing that we're trying for. There's no footpaths. It's unlit. It's very dangerous overnight if people coming and going. Even if they haven't had an alcoholic drink, they're taking their life in their hands, walking down the road to try and get to an area that has public transport. It's another issue. I don't want anyone losing their life coming from an event. That needs to be taken care of. We're not killjoys, and we're extremely happy that the hotel is going to be reinstated as a hotel and a venue for everyone to use, including the locals. But we just would like to work together, and we understand what you want to do and understand what we are asking. It's not a massive ask. Understandably, weekend events, we know we're near a hotel and we expect them to have weddings and parties. 2 o'clock is absolutely fine for anybody. Noise restrictions, because of where they are. I mean, there are stones throw, the little cottages next to, which are virtually at the side in your car park. I mean, they need extreme consideration. I'm only 50 yards opposite. And we're not being unreasonable, but we as residents feel that acceptable for a weekend is 12, and during the week, 11:30 is acceptable. And that is all we ask for you to politely understand and take into consideration. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have any comments? No further comment.
Can I ask the licensing officer what the hours were when it was last licensed? Can we ask that question or not?
You can, and I'm going to look to my colleague that I passed the piece of paper over to earlier this morning. Hold on 1 second. The licence previously had 2 different licences, one for the actual Chichester Hotel itself and one specifically to what was a function room known as the Tudor Bar. So I will cover the hotel one first, and that was for the sale of alcohol, regular entertainment, live and recorded music, performance of dance and late night refreshment. That was from 10 in the morning until midnight. And then on Sundays, other than Christmas Day and New Year's Eve and Good Friday, was from 12 until 11:30. On Christmas Day, it was from 12 to 11:30. Late night refreshment was from Monday to Saturday, 11 until 30 minutes past midnight. Sundays, other than Christmas Day, New Year's Eve and Good Friday, was 11 until midnight. Christmas Day was from 11 until midnight. And for residents and their bona fide guests, food and alcohol may be sold or supplied at any time. In relation to New Year's Eve, it was to start from the normal permitted hours until the end of permitted hours on New Year's Day. So that was the same as what the application has been requested. And that licence was granted in 2005. In relation to the function room, which is known as the Tudor Bar, that was for the sale of alcohol. Regulated entertainment included films, live music, recorded music, and performance of dance, and late night refreshment. Alcohol and regulated entertainment was Monday to Sunday, except bank holiday, except New Year's Eve, from 9 in the morning until 2. Then New Year's Eve, from the start of licensable activity on New Year's Eve to the end of licensable activity on New Year's Day. Late night refreshment, Monday to Sunday, except New Year's Eve, was from 11 until 2. On New Year's Eve, it was from 11 until 5 in the morning. I will pass this back to the legal advisor so that you can refer to it if needed to in the determination.
Thank you, Steve. Any further questions?
No, that's fine.
Right, the subcommittee will now adjourn to consider the case. We will return in, who knows, probably 20 minutes to announce the decision.